Welcome to another episode of the GUERICAST, the Immigrants. My name is Tomas do Prado Coelho. I'm your host of this podcast. And today we have a lovely guest, Volodymyr. Thank you very much for your presence. Volodymyr is a colleague from the university. The master degree we are doing is sports management. We are going to go through and meet him a bit better very shortly. Just to remind you guys to like, subscribe the channel, and leave your comment for future information guys want to know about him and maybe myself or new projects, good ideas. Everything is welcome in the channel. I want to start. I really appreciate the place. I don't know if you noticed, but we have a new scenery today. We are doing with a more professional setup. We have these professional mics and. So big thank you for the IMMIGRANTS here in Molde. It's a place for co-work, and they are doing all kind of workshops, and it's a nice, beautiful place in the center. And if you want to find out more information about them, you can check in smartmolde.no and IMMIGRANTS. You can send it. I post an email for them for ennom@molde.comune.no. I just say sorry about the noise. We have some main things going on right now. I can hear in the mic. But still, we're gonna go through this, and I hope you can hear us properly and nicely. Again, the podcast is the idea I have it of the GUERICAST, the Immigrants. It's me as a Brazilian. I'm gonna get short to you. I like to interview people have the same, they are in the same situation as me as an immigrant here in Norway. If you don't know me, I'm from Brazil, originally from Brazil. My wife is Norwegian, so I moved more than 4 years ago to Norway, from Australia to Norway. And I have my life here. Now I'm studying here and everything's going well. But the podcast is not about me. It's always about the guests, and I want to find out what people in the same situation as me, as immigrants, how they find out how Norway goes, and the life here is hard, is nice, it's those kind of things. So now we're gonna go straight to our guest, Volodymyr. Again, thank you for your presence. He's a brilliant guy from Ukraine. He was part of the last episode in the GUERICAST, but the last episode, I don't know if you saw it, you can check in the channel. We have many other students together, and I really want to do this especially with him alone, because he's one of the only in the class who wants to stay in Norway longer after the course. That's really take my attention, and I wanted to do that. And he's also the only one over 30s in the class like me. You know, all the other classmates, they are under 30s, they are 20s, half 20s. So I really wanted to welcome him this time alone. Thank you again. So how old are you, Volodymyr?
First of all, thank you for inviting, Thomas. It's a pleasure for me to be here, talking with you, sharing my experience with you. Yeah, there are definitely more brilliant guys in Ukraine than I am. But today I'm going to share with you my experience. Why did I came here? I'm from Ukraine, as Thomas already mentioned, from the beautiful city of Dnipro. Dnipro, yeah, we have a huge river in Ukraine. It's called Dnipro. Dnieper in Russian, Dnipro in Ukrainian. And my city, it's a big city, 1 million inhabitants there. So it's located directly on that river, and the name was given because of this river. So it's very beautiful. You can see riverside is perfect. Well,
how many inhabitants is in Dnipro? Is it a big city?
It's a big city, 1 million people. Yeah, 1 million people inhabitants there.
And is in that city you did your studies, like primary school and all the basic?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly, yeah. So you probably know the news that a house was struck in Dnipro, and I lived not far away from that house. It's on the riverside. I visited my school there in Dnipro, and also I got a bachelor degree in Dnipro. It was computer science degree, so I'm software engineer kind of, but now I'm switching my career and want to become a football coach. So I decided to actually switch my career, to change it. It was a big decision, big step in my life to change my career.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But do you think that changed because you studied this computer engineer thing? Do you think that you were motivated for the market? Because we come from this generation where the computers were coming out and all this IT works was a kind of dream for everybody, and a lot of people, we used to see people making a lot of money in these big tech companies coming up. You think that was one of your main motivations, or you always was into kind of the IT market, or how
And
what's your motivation to do
the motivation to begin with studying software engineer? First of all, it was kind of a hype at that time. It was very popular to become a software engineer, and I think it actually was a great opportunity, and it was. So first of all, it was, and people, they earn on average more than in other professions. In IT, they earn more. It's not a secret that people got pretty decent money here. I got lots of friends that were interested in kind of computer games. Internet just appeared at the time, and they were interested in doing some stuff online, reading online, just kind of something like that. And they also were interested in programming, so very simple programs. And it's fascinating when you write something and you got it worked. You see that you straight away see the results of your work. And it's fascinating, And then you realize that you can get money for it, for that. It's not that difficult. It's kind of okay. So that was the real motivation. And of course, you have to be good at math. So math is important for be a good software engineer. If you are good at math, you can manage be a decent software engineer. So
very nice. And so when you first left your hometown, how old were you, and what happened to you to decide to leave Ukraine? And
I left when I was 20.
Okay.
I always wanted to know, in Ukraine, we were kind of a closed country, so we are not in Europe, we are not part of Europe, and I personally always wanted to know how do other people live. How do they live in Europe? What are their passions? What are their motivations? Are they smarter than Ukrainians? Are they less smarter than Ukrainians? What kind of conversations they like to have? So how different are they from us, from Ukrainians? And I actually wanted to work in Europe. I always felt that I'm kind of part of Ukraine, and I'm a part of Europe. So I just want to check how to live there, how to actually live there, and what kind of people live there. And I always wanted, since the age of 7 or 8, I always wanted to immigrate to Europe.
Where did you go the first time you left Ukraine? To live, not to visit?
Not to live. It was Le Mans, it was in France. So I got my bachelor in software engineering in Ukraine, in Dnipro, and I proceeded with master's in France. So my master's was in software engineering, but in France, in the city of Le Mans. France.
Okay. Do you speak French? No.
I used to speak French. It was fluent. I was fluent at the time, but it's more than 10 years. It's 10 years already that I didn't have any French experience. So I understand almost everything in French, but speaking is problematic, of course, because
Did you learn in the school back in Ukraine before?
I visited some additional extra French school in order to be able to emigrate, actually.
So
I prepared myself. I get to know in advance, 1 year in advance, so there is a possibility to proceed with masters in France. There was kind of collaboration between our universities in Ukraine and in France, and they said, okay, the only thing you need to know is the French. If you know French, if you have B2 of French, then you can relocate and live here in France.
Just to remember, before, when you did that, it was 10 years ago? Or?
It was 10 years ago,
10 years ago. The universities, they didn't have that much connections they have it nowadays. Nowadays, if you want to study abroad from one university to the other, every university around the world, they have 50, 70 connections with different countries. It's very easy to do one semester or even the whole course abroad. But back in the days, that wasn't that easy. And,
back in the days, it wasn't that easy.
Connections was a bit...
it was tough, actually. It was tough. So it was the first kind of collaboration between my university in Ukraine and European one. So it was the first. Me and another girl, we are the first students who were allowed to proceed with their master degree in France and not in Ukraine. We are the first. And they were kind of observing us, Ukrainian side and French side. They were observing how do we behave, how do we study, and in order to decide whether they want to proceed with that kind of collaboration in the future. And they decided to do it.
So do you spend the two or 3 years in France? And
A little bit more than 2 years, I would say 2.5 years in
did
France.
you like the experience? Was nice?
It was perfect.
Très bon?
Très bien.
Très bien. Très bon, très bien. Very nice. And then from France you went to UK, is that right?
No, that's not right. I got my first job offer in Germany, in Berlin.
Okay.
So I also got a job offer from a company in Paris. So I had two options, whether to live in France, in
Yes.
Paris, to stay in Paris, or to move to Berlin, to Germany. I decided, well, it's going to be another great experience to visit Germany, to be there and to compare. You know, I wanted to compare people from Germany, is it to live in Germany, in France, and in Ukraine. That's it. That decision. It's probably wasn't the best decision at that time, because my experience in France was greater than my experience that I had in Germany. Yeah. So before moving here to Molde, I had been living in Germany for almost 10 years.
Okay. 10 years in Germany. You
Yes.
didn't like much, I remember.
I didn't like, and I had been working as a software engineer almost all the time,
Yes.
except of last 4 years, last 4-5 years, that I decided also to get another degree in sports science. And that's why I decided to proceed with, at that time I already kind of had some thoughts in my head that I want to do something else in my life, not to be a software engineer. There are some critical issues with software engineering. Yeah, you got money, it's not difficult, but the thing is you always learn a lot and you know a little. So, you know, you always learn new technologies, new frameworks, new libraries, new programming languages, and they always getting updated.
Yeah.
And it's not a fundamental stuff that you study.
Yeah.
You know, you do not study medicine, like psychology, medicine, I don't know, even sports.
Never fresh enough.
You're never fresh enough. You're never good enough.
Yeah.
And you know, you can study for during the whole of your life, and then one teenager comes up, and he's gonna be more demanded on the market than you are, because he just read some new book that is up to date, you know, and it's difficult to maintain that level of competitiveness there.
It's a tough
It's
market.
tough market, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
Do you think that was one of the main reasons you decided to change as well, or?
It was one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
And another, so I didn't like, you know, to sitting in front of the computer. I didn't really like that. I wanted to be, to talk to people, to teach them. I also love learning. I enjoy going, visiting some cafe with the book, reading that book, you know, and then sharing my knowledge with others. I don't like sitting in front of your laptop and programming, and you know, and but it depends. I know many people they are like that. It's okay. I do not judge. It's okay. So I do not say that software engineering is bad. It's just not for me. But maybe others they prefer it.
Yeah, I personally am not a big fan of the Germans. I have some experiences in Australia, and I don't know. I have my one pair behind when I deal with them, and it's a very. Yeah, now we have a few Germans in the class. They are very nice people, but I met some not good ones. So maybe I was just unlucky. But if I have the same opportunities than you, in my case, it would be very easier to choose to stay in France, because I don't know, German, Russians, and Chinese. They are not my best nationalized people, like the nations. Those three are a bit.
There are always exceptions, of course, but yeah, I have to admit that Russians, of course, but also Germans, for me, from my experience, they appear to be very arrogant, and they feel that they're you feel it, that they treat you not on the same level. So they treat you a little bit lower than they are even in fact that it's not the case. So there are many cases like you have, probably from my personal experience, it's I have maybe a greater knowledge, and if I know a guy who has a greater knowledge, I will ask him, I will be interested in talking to him. You know, it's not about Germans. They're still gonna treat you as you do not have any knowledge at all, you know, so that's it's disappointing, I would say.
Then 10 years now, and then you decided to come here in Norway. We're gonna get in the Norway topic very soon. That's mostly the main subject we do here in the podcast, because we are living in Norway right now. We are temporary residents, we could say that. And I want to find out what you think about Norway. We're gonna get that very soon. But before that, we already talked about, we are in this topic now of our guest life, Volodymyr's life. We talk about studies, the travel experience, the immigration experience you had it before, back in France and back in Germany, now in Norway. Work experience you already talked a little bit about, but I want to find about, you talk a little bit more about your hobbies and projects. I know you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Quite old already. We're starting a new YouTube channel this week or last week. I heard something about it and I saw the first video. It was nice. We can go through that and what things you like to do back in the days and things you're still doing it. You know, in your free time when you're not working or not studying. What you like to do, Volodymyr?
Yeah, I'm fond of performance in football, so I like everything when it comes to increasing my knowledge in football, so in coaching, so it's technical, tactical, physical components. I like reading books about tactics, nutrition, technical skill, how to shoot, how to pass, how to head. Scientifically proven books, you know, and literature articles, and then I try to share them with the team I coach. I coach actually U19 team here at Molde FK with the second U19 team. They have first U19 team, kind of preparing them for to become a professional players. And I'm coaching second team U19, so there may be just like 3 or 4 players who will become professional.
The U19 is the under 19 years old, so the kids just under 19 years old.
Under 19 years old, so yeah. And I really enjoy coaching them, you know, I really enjoy being on training sessions. I enjoy increasing my knowledge, so I enjoy visiting our classes, so it's always interesting I enjoy actually in sports, in football in particular, but in sports in everything, in management, in performance, in how its marketing goes on here. You know, I really passionate about understanding everything about it. And yes, as Tomas already mentioned, I have one YouTube channel. There are around 600 subscribers there.
What's the name? You can share.
It's called Performance in Football. It's whiteboard animations video there, and about performance, how to increase your performance in football, how to head, how to shoot, how to coach. So there are many videos on tactical periodization. Yeah, the critical aspect, I would say that it's very difficult for me to produce that videos, you know, because I need to, first of all, I need to have some knowledge about the video. Usually I read kind of a book, and then I reduce this book into one video of 7 minutes.
You synthesize all the knowledge and
I want to squeeze that knowledge of the whole book, so people do not read the whole book, so they just watch the video, and they already know what is going on here. And if they need some extra information, of course, they can read that book, that particular book. It's a whiteboard animations video, you know, so we're about performance.
There we go. So if you're watching this video right now and listening for the podcast, just check him up in YouTube. Performance in sports? No,
performance in football. You can just Google in YouTube. Just search for performance in football or tactical periodization, and you will find out.
That's good. I'm gonna leave the link of his this channel in the description of the video. And what about the new YouTube channel? Do you want to talk about that, or is
we can talk about it. It's too new. I'm still not sure about it. Yeah, the thing with the old channel that I will continue uploading videos on the old channel, but the thing is, it took me a lot of time to produce a new video. It takes me just like three weeks, sometimes even a month, to produce a new video. And you know, with all the things that going on around me, with studies, with coaching. It's difficult, so I do not really have a time. So I decided to film just the talking head videos, and that's easier to produce. But still, I'm gonna to concentrate on the content. And this channel is about relationships, some tips how to, how to manage your life, manage your relationships, ethics, and some philosophical questions. Okay. And that's just my perspective, my experience. I also had some bad things in my life, some good things, and I wanted to share them with other people, so maybe it will be interesting for others. I don't know, but we'll see.
Maybe some people can avoid the mistakes we have done back in the days.
So
that's correct, yeah. I made a lot of mistakes before a marriage, and hope I did a good choice now I'm married.
I hope so, I hope so, yeah.
Very nice. So, and I heard once you comment about you writing down a book. That was very interesting because some books I have read before. It talks about these ultimate goals you have to have in your life, and they say about to plant a tree, write a book, and what's the other one?
I didn't finish. Yeah. Tomas, you are correct, you are right, I'm writing a book. It's about, it's actually about still performance in football, but more specific, it's about creating your vision, so-called game model. The book is called Game Model. It's in accordance with a new tactical periodization approach. It's a new methodology of coaching. It's a new method of coaching. So you can just come out and start coaching. You need a philosophy. You need a vision, how would you like your team to play? And then you need a structure. So you need precisely define how you would like to play, whether it's long balls, whether it's maintenance of possession, why it's good, why it's bad. It should be sometimes scientifically proven. And so you have to write everything down. And then you need to define specific exercises, drills. So you actually achieve that game model. So you have a team, you have your game model, and in the middle you have your exercises. And so you want your team to play in accordance with your game model. And the exercises that you develop, that you design, they should make your team to play in accordance with the vision you have in your head. So, but everything should be written down, very structured, very precise. And everyone, actually the idea is, so every coach, from my point of view, he needs, or she needs to write a book or brochure where she or he has a vision of how to coach, how an ideal team should play like. And then they need to develop an exercises in accordance with some rules. There are some rules, of course, so they can transform pretty much any team into the ideal team they have in their head. So that's the book about it.
Okay, that's very interesting. Do you think like your players should read the book, or no? You probably would transmit the knowledge from the book through trainings.
Yeah, second one, because it's too difficult. Not.
Players usually they are not into reading.
Nowadays, what I know, that's why I decided to create a YouTube channel. No, people do not read books that much. Yeah. They watch YouTube videos. They are not, to read a book, to read a scientific book. Well, you need some kind of mentality. You need to have some kind of special mentality. Nowadays, teenagers, it's.
We can see from the university, people are not like we have essential readings and recommended readings for pretty much every class, and as I can see, people is not really interested in reading.
I would say
they don't get through the papers.
Even essential readings, I would say on average, like 20% of the essential readings people do. Me neither, actually. I try to read, but I do not read all the books, all the essential readings. Yeah.
It's quite a lot of reading, and All right, so I think now we can go over the next topic, which is Norway, our main topic, and I really want to know what was the biggest drive for your decision to come to Norway. And I knew you have a few different applications for this second master degree in your life, and was in different places. And what's for you was a big weight in the decision? Like, okay, let's go for Norway, fjords, mountains. Expensive economy, and we're gonna go through all those topics, nature and things. But I want to know what was your biggest motivation, like what really like, okay, let's go for it, and it will be okay in our end.
Yeah. So thanks for the question. First of all, as I already mentioned, I decided to do a distance learning sports science degree in the UK university. So I lived in Berlin, and I was doing a distance learning at Manchester University, at Manchester Metropolitan University. And I already had in my mind to relocate then after I received a bachelor degree at Manchester University, to relocate to the UK and to become a coach there in the UK. But what they did, they increased the fees. So, because of the Brexit, they started to treat Europeans as foreigners. And even so, I was living in Germany. They increased the fees for me. And
double the price?
It was you had to pay like 15,000 euros per 1 year. But the master degree is 1 year in the UK.
Yes.
But plus the living costs. So 15 plus 15, it's around 30.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot, It's quite a lot. So here in Molde, it's free. So you do not pay for your study. You just need to cover the living costs. So a living cost, it's around 12, 13,000 euros per year. So 2 years master degree. So it's going to be like 26,000 euros. But for me, it's easier to control how do I spend money, So I do not give straight away 15,000 euros to the UK university, and then in 1 year I spend the rest and straight away, I just want to control everything, and still it's cheaper. If you compare, it's like 30,000 euros in the UK and 25 here. You still it's still less.
And you still can make some money through,
Yeah, and you can even earn. So there is a possibility to do some extra work and earn some additional money. So
that's correct. So it was a financial motivation. Let's say it helps a lot.
It was partially motivational. Also, I did some research, and I like the city, the views, the fjord, the mountains. I did the research also regarding the university, Molde University College. I also approached our leader, Sulvai.
Okay.
And I stayed in touch with her, and she mentioned that there are some possibilities. Sorry, I was looking in a different.
Yeah, because I think that camera, the battery is over. I guess
okay.
It wasn't full, so probably this one is there.
Yeah, sorry. And so Sulvai, our leader, mentioned that there are actually still a possibility to become a football coach, because I was interested. We are studying sport management. It's not sport science, it's management.
Yes.
So, and I was thinking, okay, after sport management degree, you'll probably get some administrative role. Not a coaching role, but most probably administrative role. And I asked whether there are still possibilities to get a coaching role after finishing a master degree. And she said, yes, it's possible. You need just to demonstrate that you are a good coach.
Yes.
Start doing some volunteer work here in Molde. So I decided.
Norway is not a famous country for football, but it's actually very big sport here. Of course, the winter sports are, let's say, big. Maybe not bigger, but they are much more successful in the national wise, let's say, internationally. But the Norwegian football, the football for Norwegians, it is a big sport. A lot of people play here. And actually the club, the city we live in now, it's Molde, is 25,000 inhabitants. But the football club, it's very big. It was the champion for the league, the national league here, the Eliteserien. And it's a lot of promising players coming from there. Molde just beat a record of sales in Norway, so was the most expensive players sold out for the English Chelsea. His name is Fofana. And it's actually quite interesting because I saw the Ukrainian player was both from Chelsea as well. What's his name again?
Mikhailo Mudryk, his name.
Yeah,
he's very promising. He's very fast. He is boss-fitted.
He just was bought from Chelsea as well. And I see maybe Fofana will have a hard time there because it's already Chelsea have quite very good strikers like Ziyech, Harvest, Lukaku. Lukaku is still there, maybe not, but now bought Modric. Modric is the name? No.
No, I don't think so.
No, the Ukrainian one.
Mudrik.
Mudrik. Bought Mudrik, and I saw there was another strike they bought it recently as well. Quite famous and quite good. And they have that African one, the French African, Abu.
I don't remember.
He was used to play in Arsenal and in Borussia Dortmund.
Can be.
Yeah. So it's many strikers. It's like I don't.
Yeah.
I saw him playing. He's very good, but I was like maybe tricky to go for a club with so many strikers already there and more new ones.
For Fofana, it was a striker who was sold from Molde to Chelsea for 13 million euros. It's a huge money for Molde.
Yeah.
But the club mentioned that it was a good deal, both for Fofana and for Molde, and hopefully for Chelsea as well, because I hope they know what they're doing. So,
he's
the
new Drogba.
So that's maybe the point. So they expect him to be a new Drogba, I think.
Yeah, they are from the same country.
There's still risk that he won't be a new Drogba, but we'll see. I really hope he will become a new Drogba.
Yes. Nice. And so now living in Norway for like over a semester, over 6 months already. I want to know what you think about prices here, like because everyone say Norway is so expensive, and it's some people struggle with the lifestyle. And how do you think that is that very pricey if you compare it to Ukraine, France, and it's nice because you have different European countries to compare with. In Germany as well. So what is it Norway that expensive as people say, and what's the most expensive things, and what things you think it's quite for the quality wise like a good deal, what's a kind of cheap in Norway?
Well, here in Molde, I don't think the prices are too high, so I expected them to be high actually. Okay. So for example, for renting an apartment, I pay 500 euros. And it's it's a studio, single apartment. I have everything in it, kitchen and one room, bathroom, bedroom, everything. So I have everything. It's 18 square meters. It's pretty good, So it's not that much actually. Yeah. But prices, for example, for food, for coffee, for drinks, they are quite expensive. So I used to go to coffee places in Berlin, and I buy coffee in Berlin for 3 euros usually. At a good coffee place.
Yes.
Here I have to pay like 6 euros. And paying 6 euros for a coffee, for me, it's quite expensive. I don't want, at home I can make coffee for, I don't know, but paying like 6 euros for just a coffee, I can afford it, of course, but I don't want to do it,
Doesn't make much sense.
I think Norwegians think the same way, I believe they want to go to a coffee place, but spending too much just, imagine 6 euros just on a coffee, and if you want some extra, like a piece of cake or something, then you have to spend like 15 euros or something. That's that's a lot.
Yeah, here I see like the coffee place usually is quite busy, but I see when they go for a coffee and a little cake thing, it's kind of an event, It's something they do maybe once in a week.
Yeah, you see.
And they really like, oh no, today we're gonna go to the. Not like in Brazil, we just maybe go around and you see a friend like, let's just have a coffee. And
you see, in Germany it's the same. We like, let's just have a coffee, let's go out. Here it's not. Here it's like kind of something luxury that you just on certain occasions you can afford on certain occasions.
Eating outside and parties.
Yeah, you see. So that's a little bit disappointing, I would say. But in general, like renting a car, it's okay. Maybe it's just because of Molde, because as far as I know. In Oslo, the prices are essentially higher, even to the views here. Just they are very beautiful.
Transportation. What do you think? Do you think it's the buses? You used to take buses?
I never use the bus actually here because I'm over 30 and buses are free for students who are under 30. Okay. I'm over 30. So I'm 34. Yeah. So I never used.
You have a scooter, right?
I have an e-scooter. I brought it with me from Berlin, so I use e-scooter. Yeah. Sometimes Tomas gives me a hand and takes me with him at his car, so I'm kind of managing without using public transport. But of course, when I get a job, of course I will start using it before I buy a car on my own car.
Yeah, nice. And what do you think about the nature here in Norway. I know Germany is not very famous. They have, of course, many nature's places. Ukraine as well, France as well. But you live in kind of big cities. Berlin is quite big, so I don't think there's much nature in the city. Probably a bit outside you can find in the parks or things like that. But how nice, how impacting are Norwegian nature, like the mountains, the fjord, the ocean, pretty close, and all these tracks we have it here in Molde. And, is that enjoyable? Do you use that as for make your head clear out your head and?
Yeah, it's incredible. For me, it's just incredible. You know, comparing to cities I lived previously in France, I live not in that big city. In Le Mans, it's like a pretty small city, but still, comparing to Le Mans, to Berlin, to Dnipro, Molde is just so beautiful, so beautiful. The views, I still not used to those views. I go out, I'm looking at these mountains, you know, at fjord, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. I still cannot. I know some people who had been living here for many years, and they say that they still cannot get used to this amazing nature. You know, so it's just amazing.
It's heartwarming.
It's hard to.
We get the cold weather, but
it's cold weather. But I like cold weather.
Yeah.
You know,
You
I
used
like.
to.
I
Right?
used to. I used to, and I even like to. In winter should be winter. You know, it should be snowy.
You don't swim in the ocean in the winter.
No.
Last week I went for a swim after the sauna. There is a new place called Nausta here that you can check in the video. I did a video about it. And it's this sauna just is in front of the ocean, you know, just by the ocean. And that's the main goal. So people go in the sauna at 95 degrees and then swim in the ocean, which it's around 5 to 10 degrees. And
it's not my cup of tea, definitely.
air temperature is like -2, 3, something like that. So, and then I comment with him and he was like, "No, man, you're crazy. I don't swim that cold." It was kind of funny because me as a Brazilian, I'm doing swimming. He's from Ukraine, you know, should be used to heaps of snow and cold weather, but he is used to, but not into swimming. And,
not into swimming, yeah.
That's all good. Another thing is really interesting, and was one of the main motivations I invited you to come. One was because you, from the class, is the one who wants to stay here in Molde or either in Norway. And the other one, all my guests from the podcast, the GUERICAST, the immigrants, they were like, their visa status was marriage related. And so do I, you know. It's like I have my wife here, and people, they immigrated through marriage or relationship. And I know your focus is to do that immigration process through work experience. You don't want to, maybe it will happen, we never know, you know, you're a single man and life is here. The woman in Norway, it's beautiful, and they are open and like everywhere else, let's say. But you really want to get a job, a full-time job, and be stable financially, and then through that get your visa. And it's kind of it's a different approach from the other guys. So that's why I invited. So talk me about it. What your expectations for work-wise? I know you want to be a coach, and you can comment even in your actual job you're already doing, and probably building up that relationship with this big club. But do you think that process is going to be hard when you get the contract? Or tell me a little bit what your expectations and the focus of these bureaucracy steps and the visa-wise.
Yeah, you are totally right. So I expect to land a job here after I finish with my master's degree, and I expect it to be football related somehow, at least. Ideally, it should be a coaching role. It may be half-time coaching, half-time something else, either administrative role, or I don't know. I'm also considering PhD, you know, to proceed with PhD. It would be an option. So if it would be possible to like combine, like doing partially half-time coaching and half-time PhD, or half-time coaching, half-time something administrative role. So it would be ideal case for me. And I expect it from all the football clubs. So I'm doing my best right now. As I said, I'm coaching on almost volunteer basis. They pay me like 2,000 euros in a year. So that's actually just, you can say that I do voluntary coaching under 19 team. And so they kind of watching me, observing my job, and I want them to hire me after I'm done with my masters here.
It's kind of a trial
It's kind of a
experience,
trial,
So
exactly.
they started with these young players, and probably they see how you go. If you do very well, I believe they will hire you for a longer contract and better payment and all this.
So if they listen to us,
there you go, the bosses from MFCO.
Yeah.
Huske po
You see,
remember him. And another thing, it's but when imagine everything goes well, you keep in doing a good job with the under 19, and they offer you the job. I think from my experience of visa, when you get the contract, the visa, it's when you have this work connection, the visa it's automatically on. And then of course you have to do some requirements to get from the temporary visa to the permanent visa, which will be a bit of Norwegian. You have to show like a certain level. You have this Samsungsfag, which is the test. You have to do it about the Norwegian laws and the system, which is pretty easy. I did in December, and after when you live in quite a while, it's very easy questions like if something happens with you, do you have to pay the hospital or not? Who pays the hospital bill and these kind of things, basic stuff. So I hope you get it through. It's something you wanted, and I think this kind of a person like you, it's more than welcome for the city and for Norway. I think Norway needs people with higher education, a master education, the double master education. Looking forward for a doctor degree as well. It's I think it's many exciting things to happen in your life, and I think we'll work out. Another topic I have here in my list, in my quick plan, it's about Høgskolen I Molde. So we can talk about the course we're doing, how you are enjoying it or not, which things you did most like in the first semester, and you can talk about this the doctor degree you want to do it when we finish in 2 years. In 1.5 years we are done with the master, and what do you think, which line you want to do this doctor degree if you happen, and talk about let's focus on the Høgskolen in the university we are right now and the experience, everything you're going through.
Yeah, the experience so far is okay. It's not perfect. Maybe there are some issues still. For example, like we are just going through papers, So professors, they give us some papers, and you have to read these papers. But the problem is they do not teach us how to actually. They do not teach us critical thinking, and also how to present your work, how to write papers on your knowledge, how to present your knowledge, how to. All those research skills, I would say. So we just read through all the papers on our own, and we also do some group works. But still, I believe they can provide us with some more practical cases. So how can we solve some practical issues, But it's okay because we are into a scientific degree. We read a lot of papers. Papers are interesting. I find them interesting. So there are pros and cons, but so far I'm enjoying. English level of our professors is very, very good. Our group, I hope you agree with me, like the guys here, they are very nice guys. So it's I'm enjoying it. I actually enjoying it. Enjoying my life here, enjoying studying. That's something I do really like. I'm fond of football, fond of studying football, fond of coaching football, fond of talking with people who are into football, and that's my life is about here in Molde. So I'm happy. I'm really happy, and I'm really...
That's good. Yeah, the students, I think, is nice, and most of them are very fresh from the bachelor degree. So I feel a little bit rusty in the class, but still I feel like I'm the one of the most who participated. I'm a very talkative in the classroom as well. But from the grades we get it, the feedback, I wasn't that happy with the grades, but I still get it through. But this is another thing, the writing. You recommended to me this app Grammarly, which is a Ukrainian app, fantastic, which helps when you write an essay or working for the university. It helps you out a lot with some small issues you have in the writing. Something is not clear, and it just points you a better way to do it, to present your ideas and your what you think about it, and it's very cool. And what about the doctor degree? If you have the opportunity, and I think that will happen as well, it's something, I think from our class, you're the one who really outstanding as the wiser and experience, because you have a lot of work experience, but you also have a lot of academic experience, so you were in different courses and have different degrees already. And you're not that young, The other ones, I think they are quite wise, but they miss a lot of working experience. And you kind of a very good mix of both of them. But if they offer you and say, you know what, Volodymyr, you are the one who taking the doctor degree from this year, and what would you want to study deeply? If you have to choose it now, of course, that's a decision you have time to take it. But if you have to decide it right now, which study would be, which question would you go further to try to answer?
I got one proposition from our professor Alec Kramer, you know him,
Yes.
To make a research on the best possible configurations of European tournaments. So, for example, you know that UEFA Champions League, they will have a new structure of the tournament. So they are not going to have the group stage. They are not that group stage of four teams anymore. It's not like that. So they reorganized it, and the question remains: is it actually the best structure? Is it the best structure for the clubs to generate more revenue, so I actually want to maybe just I'm still considering to make a research on the best possible configuration of a European tournament or some tournaments, considering many factors like revenues, game scheduling, and maintenance, the motivation of teams, so they still need, they are motivated to win, because if one team somewhere in the middle of the table, they do not have, they lost any chance either to promote or to relegate, so they are not motivated. So that's something I want to avoid, and I want maybe to create some kind of new structure that takes into account all the factors, revenues, motivations, and so on. And so with them, and we can maybe present it later. Maybe UEFA will take a look at it and again reorganize the structure.
That's very interesting. It's Alex Krumer is one of our teachers, the statistics kind of economist teacher, and he's very super wise and incredibly interesting papers he presented to us. This kind of things like the goalkeeper should jump to the left, to the right, or stay in the middle. This kind of things, and
lots of research.
Statistically proved, and very interesting topics. That's very nice. One thing, we're gonna almost go for the next topic, but before we leave this Norwegian topic, I want to know if you, for any reason, travel back home, or if you're gonna stay a bit away in Norway, what do you think things you're gonna miss it here? Like if you go for a holidays and let's say you go to Asia or Africa, or what in Norway you love most? Let's say.
What I love most here.
Some of the answers I got from previous podcasts was like water was one thing really strikes me, and people really like the water here, but the views, the nature, the fish, the quality of the fish, or the snow can be so, but the snow you can find, of course, in other places. But just some of the previous answers I got from different guests, just to kind of clarify the type of question. You don't need to strict for one thing, but think if you leave Norway, what you're gonna miss most?
I think I'm gonna miss most football and being close to football, being close to football team, to players, and to the nature, of course, as well. I like combining football and calmness of the nature. I like walking around, enjoying the views. Structuring my thoughts in my head. There are many thoughts that are always in my head. So and I just like to go for a walk, and
Probably
take my time here. And the views are just amazing. Just walking along the fjord, it's incredible. And
It's kind of summarizing your answer, if I get it right. So you really sounds to me you really like the peaceful. Because
I'm
Norway is
introvert.
it's quite a big country with not many inhabitants. So, of course, the big cities you have the crowded and things in parks. But here in Molde, when you go out in the mountain, it might depends on the time you go. You're not gonna see one live person, right? So that's quite nice, isn't it?
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm introvert actually, and I like you have some free time. Just go hiking. I'm going to join sunset, and the sunset here are just incredible. Sunsets are incredible. I have never seen something similar in my life, actually, the sunset here.
I feel like also here in Norway, people don't mind much your business. It's really nice. In a way, they don't mind your business, but the other way, you could see is a bad way. They don't care if you're doing good or if you're doing bad. Or it's really people. They're quite individualists, let's say.
I'm individualist.
Yeah, and people here are as well.
I'm kind of found that Norwegians are, most of them, not all of them, but those who I met so far, they're close to my mentality. They're not that much talkative, but still they're not that arrogant as Germans are. So they are not treating you lower than they are. So no, they show respect. I feel that respect to my personality. I show the same. I show also respect to other people. So I'm not feeling actually like a foreigner here.
Yes. You look like a Norwegian, huh?
I look, but
Blue eyes,
but still
blonde.
But I looked at the German as well. It can be, but they still treated me as a non-German.
The Germans, they have a previous history of not being really accepted for different kinds of people. So
especially as Tomas already mentioned. So I lived in Berlin. So people say that in other cities in Germany, people are completely different in comparison to those who live in Berlin. So I'm talking about Berliners.
Yeah, but still, it's a very cosmopolitan city, so they should be already used to with the immigrants, because there is a lot of people, a lot of international people living there, and a lot of tourism going on there. It's a big one of the main places in Germany. So I see here in Norway the immigrants numbers are increasing, and people it's welcome to the community. And of course it's hard to get to work. I struggle a lot to get to work in the beginning. I couldn't speak Norwegian, of course, so it's this language barrier. It takes time for you to break it, but when you break it, it's when you get into the system working wise, and you have some friendships, place to go, start to build connections. I think life here is super promising. The nature is amazing, and I have a bias because now I'm living here and I have planned to live for long now with my kid and things. But I think that's a good way to finish the topic of Norway. Do you think I missed some question about anything of your life? Going back in the topics, just if something I maybe went through and you wanted to say and I didn't ask about your life, working, the experience, the Norwegian life here, or... I know there is one, of course, you coming from Ukraine, I didn't want to struck the subject of the war. I know that's for the YouTube is not a good content. So
it's okay.
If we have if we have things related to that, it would be bad for the channel. Actually, we're gonna get less views and things, and I think it's a hard subject to talk about it, because I'm coming from Brazil. We're not used to the war, and of course it's clear for everyone in the world who is wrong in that history, and I don't think we need to talk about that. I know you're very patriot of your country and very proud to be Ukrainian. That's very nice. So I hope things gets better there and peaceful soon. But another thing, it's relationships. I didn't want to go through that topic. I know you have one nice friendship, but it's something didn't start yet, so I don't want to. Maybe if I invite you for next time in a year and things change it, we could go through that subject. And I think that's it. We already talked about the actual work, so you're really enjoying this coaching experience. It was your first coach experience in football, or you did before?
I did before in Berlin as well.
Okay, in Berlin as well.
Yeah. But in amateur football club. So here it's kind of professional one.
Yeah, the club is a very good one. How do you think the kids, they are better players in Germany or in Norway? That's a kind of interesting question. Point of view, because I'm coming from Brazil and I see a lot of kids playing, and I can tell you I cannot compare the Norwegians with the Brazilians. The kids, wise kids, the Brazilians are much better by far, but
they play differently. So first of all, Norwegians, what I was surprised, they make lots of mistake and nobody screams at you, nobody shouts at you. So you can commit a mistake. That was surprising because in Germany, if you commit a mistake, so every player start shouting at you, what did you do, what's going on, it's bad actually, because you need to you do not need to have a fear in committing a mistake. So here is another problem. So here they do not have any fear at all. So they commit a lot of mistakes, and then and afterwards they can maybe realize that something went not that good, but they're not afraid of committing mistakes, and sometimes they just play the ball to the opponent. So here, but they are very technically skilled here, players, I would say, more technically skilled than in Germany. But they, on average, from my subjective perspective, they commit on average more mistakes than German players. Okay. So German, they play more safely, but they are less technically skilled on average. Okay. On average.
Okay. Here they don't. There is no much pressure.
There's no much pressure. Yeah, they are more like they know the football is more interesting here, and it has more potential because if you're already technically skilled, then it's easier to teach you not to play in a rush, to be more smart, to understand the game. It's easier. Okay. If you do not have the qualities, then it's either you play smart or no. It's already not that important. So lovely. I think Norwegian football players, they have a lot of potential.
Okay. Then in the finish up topic here, we have some the plans. We talk about the project, so you want to probably finish your book. You don't have a date to do it. You're just building up your pace. That's nice. You have those 2 YouTube channels. I heard also you have this course, like an online course. You sell it about.
Yeah, actually
football.
It's the same performance in football, but that's on my online course. I have essentially more videos. So you can purchase an online course. Okay. On YouTube channel, I have just 14 videos. Okay.
I will leave the link of all these projects, and the YouTube channels and the course as well. That's very nice. It's another way of making some revenue for the life. It's pretty interesting, and it shows how into it football you are, and that's it's a very nice. And I think that's it. I think we are done for today. I hope the audio and the video was getting right. We have some technical issues going on here, so we'll see later how did it go. But again, I'm very thankful for the IMMIGRANTS Lab here in Molde to welcome me to do this thing. That's the first podcast we are recording is in this table with this equipment. So I'm very satisfied to starting that up. And hope to get it more. My goal for this year is to do 12 episodes of the GUERICAST, the Immigrants, so once in a month. I'm looking forward for the February episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much to watching till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please comment what's the highlight of this episode for you. And again, Volodymyr, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah,
you're a good friend from the class. We are doing a lot of university things together and playing a lot of football as well.
Not just universities, just in general, like playing football.
Now I'm taking him to the swimming pool I work, see if he likes. It's a warm water, so he's gonna go in. He's gonna go get wet.
Try out.
And again, thanks for everything, for your time, for the answers. You're a very smart guy, and I hope things go very well for you here in Norway, and hopefully in Molde, so you can stay with us, and I can keep a friend of mine close to me. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See you guys next time.